I was thinking today, this medallion, bear with me for a little minute because I think it's a good metaphor. This round thing around my neck um, is called a shapwi. And it's a mythological, that word and that the meaning of this, what it can do for you, the power of it, um, was came to it's through a lineage kind of from my sister's teacher. It was a music teacher to me, and I've given many a friend a shapwi. And what they do is keep you from going crazy. That's the mythology behind the shapwi, and I find that useful. I don't think about it all the time, but I think so far so good. I've come to the edge probably, and I think that there's a lot of things that would bring us to the edge of what society might think is crazy. Like this being, there are people who would just assume I'm crazy as hell because this is what I do. But you're here watching, so, obviously you're on a spiritual path too. So anyway, yeah, this is an amulet that one of the rules that was made up by somebody along the way is that you can't buy your own shapwi. It has to be given to you. It's a round anything that you wear around your neck that's given to you. The individual who came up with the name was the teacher's granddaughter, because he kept saying, she said, "What's that?" And he said, "It's an amulet." And she said, "No, it's a shapwi." "That's a shapwi." He said, "Okay, by any other name would smell as sweet. Let's call it a shapwi." So there's something about going, thinking you're going crazy, thinking it like your own brain looks back on itself and says, is this beyond the pale? And I have to check in with myself rather a lot, or I don't have to, but I do. And I think to determine what's crazy in a culture that's this crazy, it's like all bets are off. The cards are in the air. You get to decide what's good for you, what's about your growth and your liberation and your coming into yourself, and you're feeling good about your place in the world and yourself, and super concerned about other people who are in dire straits, and knowing what you can do and what you can't do. Prayer can reach a lot of places and prayer can be put into action in all sorts of different ways. What's it mean, Doc? Well, hermit. That's knowing who you are. That's deciding for yourself about your spiritual core. Like, what's my path? And how do I light the way for myself? And light the way for other people? Card of Virgo. And I never noticed that before. This is fairly new to me, this deck, but there's a snake in the path. It's in the shape of a figure 8. And the snake, sheds its skin and survives. Can let go, can grow, This is a major arcana card. So it does speak to kind of our soul's journey toward wholeness, toward authenticity, toward enlightenment. I mean, that sounds like woo-woo, but that's what we do with our lives. Virgo energy, earth energy. This is the sage of the major arcana, the search for meaning. And I think if you notice too, in this one, often hermit is depicted on the mountaintop, having attained a certain level of clarity and ability to look at his or herself, core self, and identify, who am I? And it's a bit of a precarious, the sage's journey is not all twinkle toes. It has some hard terrain to traverse. This is rocky, it's thin, it's a little bit dangerous, and moreover, there's a snake in the way. So hermit may see both the spiritual path and maybe the pitfalls, because it looks like there's an abyss. This is kind of a Gandalf, the wise wizard. Okay, tell us about the snake. King of Swords, this character just won't quit. It's in almost every reading. There's an analytical way of looking at the world, and we need that. Something to assess, am I on the right track? Am I true to myself? Are my beliefs aligning with who I know I am at my core? It's a card of self-knowledge. King of Swords, sword energy, knowledge. And this is, how do I walk it back into my life, into the world? Earth energy. This is a different kind of knowing. I mean, can our spiritual wisdom enlighten us about who we are in the world and how we communicate and how true are we to ourselves? Yes. It brings we can bring the spiritual light to shine on our 3D mental, am I crazy? No, this person is not crazy. What does that mean to be crazy? Because again, it's a personal sense of, nines speak to the personal. It's the personal inventory. How do I attain enlightenment about who I am and judge, how aligned am I? I'm not crazy. Is it this one? So I'd like to know about the snake. Wow. Empress. Another major arcana card, this time an earth energy. Taurus, earth energy, Virgo. Grounded in the self, card of divine feminine. And we had all this in the garden imagery yesterday and divine feminine. I mean, the woman took the rap for eating the apple. It's about knowledge. It's about knowledge. Both the analytical brain and a spiritual knowing. And this is Gaia energy. This is an energy of creativity and birthing real things, out of your own authenticity. Your own authenticity, because you know who you are. You've walked that precarious spiritual path, but you have the, You have the light, the guide. The snake is the ability to shed the old skin, knowing what that means. Being able to discern what the old, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to shed? Hermit energy. And once the skin is shed, it's not like diminishing anybody. It's, it's tapping into your own fundamental abundance, and your, hermit comes back into the world with the wisdom that they share with other people. They can actually talk about it. This may be somebody, King of Swords, coming to a spiritual understanding of what divine feminine is, earth energy, what it is. Not what you think it is, sword energy, but what it actually, this is the embodiment of life itself. King of Swords may be learning something about divine feminine, because here he's partaking in her energy. He, she, they, and his, her, their energy. I mean, gender, time, all sorts of stuff is fluid in tarot, which can be a little frustrating. But we're just trying to follow the light. What does my journey mean? Tell us about, what does the journey mean? And I think it may be like, the point of the life is to live it. The point of the path is to walk the path. It actually doesn't mean anything. Eight of Wands on the bottom of the deck. Card of movement. Of kind of walking the path in a way. Directional Wands energy. Here we go. They're all pointing in the same direction. As if there's I saw the card underneath. As if there's a consensus of some sort about where to go. How to walk the path. Which direction. And then we have Queen of Swords. A match for the king. The feminine energy. Now, Queen of Swords, can be a severe energy in that Queen of Swords can set a boundary, knows what's true, follows their own belief about what's true. They know themselves. They expect truth from the other person. And I think they will get it. This King of Swords person, prone to being analytical, has gone through some kind of spiritual transformation. And it's changed the way they identify their divine feminine, sword energy, King of Swords, empress. They've achieved some kind of enlightenment that allows them to see that perhaps this is a spiritual partnership between these two. And they both know it. King and Queen of Swords, about knowing it, being able to recognize it. These people may be mirroring each other. Under King of Swords, Sun card. Another card of divine masculine. So we have an implicit match here. And I had something I noticed about, well, I guess it wasn't here, but self-knowledge. This can be considered a card of ego, but not in the sense of prideful or selfish. This is just, here I am, shining the light, that active energy of putting it out there into the world. Feminine energy can be defined as the one that receives the light, the enlightenment. It flows both ways. Shine the light, receive the, it is blessed to receive, it is blessed to give. Under Empress, we have this card of communication in fire energy, fire sign, Leo. I mean, these guys are smart and intellectual, and in that way might clash sometimes because they both have convictions and beliefs, and so there may be, not like battles, but sort of a sport of exchange of views, exchange of ideas. But the whole situation is warming up. It's not this cold sword energy. It's not all in the brain. It's not just about thinking about it. It's sun energy, divine masculine card of doing it. Shining your light, being in the world, being who you are. And part of who we are is our spiritual self, hermit card, 9 in major arcana. On Queen of Swords, what's her truth? His, her, their, we've got both masculine and feminine on the board in the minor and the major arcana. And I'm telling you, it's fluid. And when I say you may not identify with that. You may see that as the other person. Well, that's the other person. But there is a way in which you're mirroring each other. I don't even know who these two are. They seem to know who they are. Queen of Swords, what is your truth? Oh my. It's something I had to fight for. Maybe competing opinions, or like other people didn't like it. They may have thought I was uppity or an egghead, or I was once called at a job by the cook who I admired very much. Apparently her nickname for me was the educated idiot. And there are people around, what was it I said that, the question of am I crazy? Some people may think or may try to prove or challenge this person and say you're crazy. But this person knows their own truth. It wasn't easy to come by it, and entailed this 5 of Wands struggle in terms of, that best sense of the ego. Who am I? There was a struggle around that. This divine masculine may have been trying to figure themselves out. And they were under the influence of their friends or their family. Something had to change. It's a 5 card. And I think part of it was that they had to shine their own light, decide, be themselves, understand for themselves who they are. Reveal themselves, no longer kind of obscured by the blur of some kind of friction. So Queen of Swords recognized perhaps that they were under the influence of, their friend group, their bros. And the bros may not have liked her. Queen might not have liked Queen of Swords, and she could give a shit. Queen of Wands. This is somebody who knows intuitively. I mean, their intuitive self and their intellectual self are aligned. They know who they are. They've worked it out. They may have had to work their way through a dynamic of people around them who thought they were crazy. I mean, this one is somebody who would believe in their own power. To be able to walk into the fire and not go crazy, to see that they have some kind of protection. Because they know who they are and they don't put up with a bunch of bullshit. They'll set a boundary to that. Because this realm of, the mystical realm is something they defend. Because this is also kind of a defensive energy. They'll fight for it. And they're channeling. They may be getting downloads, but I think it's a conversation that's, between King of Swords and Queen of Swords. They can communicate now, perhaps about what kept them apart before. This is a card of interference. And it might not be an external group, but for some reason I think it is. And it required this kind of introspection. Or tell us about hermit energy. And it's stepping back. I mean, this one steps back to analyze the situation, and hermit goes into retreat in order to get their own core wisdom. On hermit, 10 of Cups. Knowing yourself kind of can put you in accord with your connections. It's sort of like, how do you connect in such a significant way if you don't know who you are, if you haven't, taken a good look at what really matters to you, earth energy, what matters, what makes you happy. I think King of Swords is being enlightened about what they feel and what makes them happy. I have a feeling they recognize the value of divine feminine. Divine feminine recognizes her own value, their own value. Their abundance, their ability to give, their ability to caretake without ever depleting themselves. To know themselves. Every part. Two of Wands. That's a choice. That's a, which way do I go energy. And it's like the doorway to the future in a way. Two of Wands, which way do I get to Three of Wands? The place where what I've manifested can come to me, which is a mouthful. And there is a a kind of what appears to be the white stag, the mystery that stands in the way. That they can't pass through until they've explored the mystery. And which way do I go? How do I light the path that leads to connection and happiness? And because hermit is an isolated energy, but they understand both themselves and thence the connection. What's the choice about? There's something to work through. There may be something in the way, something that needs to be changed. On Sun card, what's in the way for this divine masculine? Page of Wands. Well, they're at the beginning of the journey. In fire energy, I'm walking the path to a self-awareness. I'm learning about myself. I'm lighting up the dark corners. I'm willing to begin. Maybe not knowing the destination, but I'm on the move. On the move. A card of movement and flow. And perhaps this person is literally taking the steps, on that journey, the hermit's journey. Learning from and changing when they meet with resistance, maybe. Learning how to follow their own light, their own truth, to begin the journey. And I think who they're moving toward is Queen of Wands, who attracts people. They're attractive. They're easy on the eyes. They shine brightly. And people are drawn to their light. Somebody's curious too. It's a card of discovery, Page of Wands. Like, I think this person is a bit bedazzled by how brightly you shine. Is that the deal? Yeah, okay. And on King of Swords, what do you know? What have you come to know about yourself, about divine feminine, about the choices that you need to, the intuition you need to tap into to know which way to go, how to approach? And it may be something you're still working out, Five of Wands. But you've got an inclination, you've got an intuition about what direction and how to walk the path. Okay. Seven of Wands. There's some resistance here. You may have to stand up, because this can be a card of standing up for yourself. To stand up. That's an afterthought. To stand up for yourself, against the competing concerns or possible directions, or so King of Swords, divine masculine, is discovering themselves. It's a path of discovery, a willingness to, accept the new path or discover the new path on King of Swords, Wheel of Fortune. That's lovely. That's divine timing, the karmic path, the path that leads you toward your destiny. If you can tap in to your intuition, this sort of almost like compass needle of the wand, the walking stick, the compass needle, to know where to go. I mean, you're lit up, and so's the other guy. And now the wheel is turning. It's like, this is sort of like unlocking the path, unlocking the knowing what you need to know, King of Swords, in order to get on board with it. Your destiny calls. Destiny calls. And this person is taking up the walking stick and walking the talk. Two of Swords. Perhaps where there wasn't communication before, sword energy. A decision needed to be made. And there may have been miscommunication and, exhaustion. Like, do we really have to need to talk about this again and again? Because this can be like a pattern. But there's a degree of surrender in this. But there's something also about like planting the flag. Where did that image of the planting the flag? Well, taking the stand. Planting the flag. It was a hard journey. It was a hard journey, and there were places where I didn't know. Two of Swords, I didn't know. But I persevered. Nine of Wands. I stood up for myself. I'm tired, but I made it. Whatever might have been blocking the doorway, this time of consideration about which way do I go. I worked it out, Five of Swords. It wasn't easy. It was at some cost, to stand up to perhaps this group of people that thought I was nuts. Like, don't go there, don't. I stood up for myself, and it was exhausting, this struggle. But I'm on my feet now, and I'm walking forward. I think Divine Masculine had some kind of beating, just went through it. Like, had to walk the gauntlet of other people's opinions. Maybe people thought that that they were crazy too. That their attraction to this person, it was nuts. You're nuts. You want to go toward her. I mean, she's clearly nuts. She's this witchy. I get the feeling that the people who don't trust their intuition are really not on board with this. They're still working out their sense of what direction they're supposed to go. And they kind of find it uppity, that you know your own power. I think it's a big endorsement on the part of the universal workings, the how we move forward for the better in our lives, on the karmic path, on the spiritual path, that improves not improves, that somehow the environment now is more conducive to connection. It's a bright, shiny future, walking toward the light. Okay, follow the light. Be careful, hermit, on that precipice there, but, choose wisely, hermit. Once you've determined, what the essential lesson is, then you can make the decision. And I think they've decided, but they're at the beginning of the path. So it's going to take a while. There are obstacles. It's going to take a while. But they're persevering. And so are you. I mean, you're Queen of Wands. Queen of Swords. That's formidable feminine energy. King of Swords, no slouch. You kind of met your match, or you will. They may be walking towards you somehow. It'll be different for all of us. And I wanted to kind of reinforce that message, that this isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. I'm interpreting the cards. They're addressing fluid energies of the psyche and of the people involved. Free will is always a thing. You don't have to know or act on your destiny. It may not be divine timing for you. You may still be on the path. That's really for you to determine. So if this doesn't resonate, leave it. It's not your reading. I hope it is, in a way, because it's a good one. I'd love to be on the path toward this. The path of discovery, finding your match, blah, 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 blah. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.